Just like underwear, board games come in different shapes and sizes. You have tiny, very small, small, this is starting to look like a board game, this is a board game, whoa, slow down there, cowboy, and Gloomhaven. But today we have a board game that introduces an entirely new size to board game, 1/2 of EFCA.
That doesn't sound very good.
Heroes of Land, Air and Sea is a full-length sized board game that promises you and up to 3 of your friends 3 hours of fun. And if you buy the accompanying expansion, Order in Chaos, you can have up to 2 extra friends playing it. And just in case you haven't got enough friends, this box is so big, it comes with an actual extra friend inside. Go on, Lane, open it.
I don't wanna. I don't need to, because I already know that what's inside this box is a game that gives you thick slabs and a full KFC-sized family bucket full of plastic miniatures and actual cardboard structures representing your fantasy races, like dwarves, elves, orcs and Italians.
Tell me more about the things in this game right now.
Oh well, Efka, you get to do such board game staples as recruiting an army made up of serfs and warriors.
Minis.
You get to recruit heroes, build towers, build boats, build airships, and satisfyingly increase your capital level by layering these towers, like layering a
Cake.
And let's not forget the fried chicken.
Please tell me you didn't actually put fried chicken with those board game components, did you?
That's right, I washed them.
Right now I want to tell you about publisher Gameling Games, who have made a name for themselves cramming big experiences into tiny little boxes, fitting in as much game into as compact a space as possible. And then to go from this into that, well, it's just like an explosion of pent-up components. It's like a board game teenager finally hitting puberty and going, look at my mom! I'm a big boy now! Heroes of Land, Air and Sea follows the 4X genre of games. 4X standing for explore, expand, explode, and exsanguinate.
Do you even know what exsanguinate means?
Yeah, it's a philosophical thing, right? As you build bigger armies, surround yourself with airships, and unlock cool abilities with your buildings and heroes, you will inevitably push towards one of the 4 endgame conditions. As soon as someone either builds all the towers, recruits all the figures, explores all the surprise exploration tokens, or actually eliminates a player from the game, fun time is over and it's time to pack up your toys, because you'll count up your points, see who has the most, because get this...
What are points, mate?
Guess what? There is an elephant in this room and it's getting a little bit uncomfortable, and not just because of this freemium mobile phone game aesthetic. This logo reminds me of something, and I don't know, it's something about the scope of the game and how at first you recruit serfs, and then you recruit as many as possible and then send them into resource collecting locations, and then they bring in resources, and then once you finally have enough and your economy is going, you start recruiting warriors and then get buildings, and those buildings will produce either different warriors or give you upgrades for those warriors, and then you'll send them out to fight someone else. It just reminds me of something, and I don't want to say what it is because we all know what I'm talking about, but from what I hear, publisher Gameling Games is so scared of comparisons that they're actually afraid that the company who produces the thing that I'm not talking about might even sue them or something, which I don't think is the case because this is clearly distinct enough as its own thing. So I just thought I'd bring it up for those of you who might, feel that that is relevant and an interesting catch.
Paradoxically, Heroes of Land, Air and Sea never tries to compromise on stuff or size, but it tries to compartmentalise a big 4X game into a very compartmental 2 to 3 hours. It's big, but it never feels overbearing. There is a lot of stuff, but it all fits elegantly into a very sleek rules framework. It's like the publishers went, hey, let's take everything we've learnt from making a tiny game and apply it to as many components as Kickstarter money will let us have.
I really like this system of upgrading your things. Let's say you are playing the orcs and you want to do more killing, right? Okay, so here's the thing, Elaine. I have just the solution for you. It is what we in the business call a blood tent. Now, if you could just step inside, then we'll...
It's not even a tent.
I know, we had some budgetary constraint issues, so it's now a shed. Look, the committee decided, so just in you go. Come on. Come on, just go inside. Should be about 2 minutes. One of the things I can do in this game is build a building. Let's say I decide to build a blood tent because we already established that it's cool, and also it gives me a cool new ability, which is before any combat I can spend 2 mana and turn one of my serfs into a warrior. If I want to do that, all I do is assign a serf for permanent indenture in that building, spend 3 mana, and I have it built and that ability unlocked. But what's even cooler is that I can always build a second level of my capital. And if I do that, not only does it unlock a second ability for the blood tent, which basically makes my army stronger if I'm fighting against serfs, but also unlocks that ability or different abilities in any building that I have already built or will build in the future. And not only that, it unlocks second abilities for each hero that I recruit. It allows me to build a second tower, whereas before I only had one, and it allows me to scribe a second spell, second everything. One rule for everything in this game. I think my blood warrior is ready. All right, one Orc warrior coming up. Action selection is also streamlined. Each round I'll get to do exactly 2 actions with my action shields, and when my turn comes along I can put that shield down either on a capital action or a command action. Capital actions let you do things like recruit soldiers, build buildings, scribe spells, or just kick back with my taxes. But each time I select a capital action, I invite each other player to put down their serfs on that same action spot and do that action for free, giving them an opportunity to exploit whatever it is that I'm doing. But if I instead do a command action, which generally relate to moving and getting yourself into a fight, no one can follow that action, but I can do an extra one of them just by putting a serf down myself. Of course, I'll want to do capital actions at the most opportune moment, which is generally late in the turn when everyone's already spent their serfs and can't actually follow me. But what if I need those soldiers now? What if I need a building that unlocks one of my crucial abilities? What if I just really need to kick back with those taxes?
And you get to fight, and yet again, it's a cool, simple system. When you're in a fight, you count everyone's strength.
And then whoever has the highest strength wins, right?
No, wait just a bit. Okay, you count everyone's strength, then the defender gets to play a combat spell if they want to, then the attacker gets to play a combat spell if they want to.
And then the highest strength wins, right?
No, then each player plays secretly one of 7 different combat cards and then reveals them simultaneously. Anticipating what combat card your opponent played is key because some cards cancel out other specific cards. Let's say your opponent played conscripts, hoovering up friendly units from nearby areas into the fight. Well, they won't get to do that if you played First Strike and killed them literally before they could do that.
And then the highest strength wins, right?
No, then everyone has to pay resources for the cards they played. And if they don't have enough, they have to sacrifice fighting units, but they still get to participate in the fight.
And then the highest strength wins, right?
Yes. Okay, Efka has a point. This is far from elegant, but it's kind of my favourite thing about this game. Rock, paper, scissors, wizard, goblin, orc, Spock is nonsense, but by simply observing the resources that they have, you can eliminate maybe 4 cards, and then maybe another one because it just doesn't do anything relevant to the situation. And then you're left with a 50-50 choice, and your opponent knows this. Some fights in this game are very one-sided, where it just doesn't matter what you play or they play, or maybe they'll have all the resources and you just won't. But sometimes you will be in an edge of the blade fight that makes Blade Runner seem like a slow and ponderous film. Wait.
There's gotta be some sort of a cost for all this streamlining, like a Crossroads deal with the devil, because it is just too sleek. What happens when you build a tower? Well, like a famous boxer called Assassin's Creed, you get an eagle-eye view of all the lands around you and you reveal all exploration tokens on them. But because it is your outpost in foreign lands, you get to teleport units from your capital onto that territory. What happens when you want to put units into a boat or a skyship, and how many rules-wise can you put in? The answer is 2, because physically you can only fit 2 in. I mean, isn't that just amazing?
How good is it, Efka?
Well, okay, honestly.
Yeah, honestly.
Honestly, this is the worst trip I have been on this year. and I feel so broken, I want to go home.
Well, really, this is the worst board game trip you've been on?
I mean, no, okay, obviously that's an exaggeration, right?
Why did you say it then?
Well, because I needed a good segue, and we have the Beach Boys up there, and this boats in this... Have you got another segue we can use? Because we can't use this one anymore.
Surprise! This game, to borrow a phrase from our friend Quinn's, is a little bit bobbins. Nothing we said was a lie, but everything else just isn't very good, which when you put the two together makes it alright, or dare I even say it, passable. Heroes of Land, Air and Sea has as many little problems as it has little bits, so let's dump this KFC-sized family bucket onto the table before we get to the gravy. The spells range from this almost does nothing to completely preposterous, erasing entire armies off of the board. Your abilities are an information dump that take forever to pass and you constantly forget them. Rules exceptions create multitudes of clarity issues, making you spend time looking up things in an FAQ that, wait a minute, at the time of filming doesn't yet exist. And this box, half a centimetre too big to fit on a standard Kallax shelf. Half a centimetre. Please find me the person who is responsible for this decision, because I have words to share.
But these are just the bitty issues, and whilst they do sometimes make you feel like you got bit in your bits, let's talk a little bit about the bits that don't feel so bitty. On the surface, getting that whole Warcraft experience on the table sounds exactly like the sort of thing that you might want. And I get that. That's the reason why we bought this game. It's nostalgia. I too want to go back to that time when Nirvana was a band and Keanu Reeves and The Matrix was cool. Here's the thing. When you're unraveling this efficiency puzzle and spend a good half of the game building up your economy and getting your engine going, it is incredibly jarring for it then to erupt into an all-out brawl, at least in this game. Because it turns out that just like in comedy, the most important thing in board games
Timing!
In good 4X games, when someone attacks you, it makes sense, because you've built up, you recruited some cool new units, and then you sent them off to a fight, but you didn't just do that, there was a narrative reason for it. You were invested in attacking this certain enemy for whatever past grievances, or maybe just a really good tactical decision. Whereas in Heroes, Land, Air and Sea, when someone attacks you, it just feels annoying because there is nothing distinguishing about this map. And actually, despite looking like a flat board, it is more like a donut. Everything is just about equidistant, meaning that if you attack someone because they maybe had a weak spot, you actually didn't, because in all likelihood, everyone else also had a weak spot that is equally reachable just as that one. And then when the fight is over, everyone's just gonna lick their wounds and start rebuilding, except they won't, because again, they've been weakened and other people are gonna start attacking them, and the cycle repeats over and over again. It is possible that this feeling of listless punch-ups stems from listless scoring. Everything you do in this game scores you points, and I mean everything. Recruit a dude, that's points. Build a building, that's points. Win a fight, that's also points. And scribe a spell, sure, why not? Go ahead. Points. And in theory, this is great because no action in the game gets unrewarded. But in practice, and I'm sorry to say this, it just feels a little bit pointless. There are no clear objectives. It's just do things because it's all good and points. But a lack of a clear objective creates a lack of narrative. In games like Twilight Imperium, sure, you're also trying to score points, but each and every single one of them was a hard-fought battle that told a story. You either brokered a deal or negotiated an alliance or betrayed your friends. And talking of Twilight Imperium, this box right here retails at £80 and comes with just 4 factions, meaning that if you're playing it with 3 other friends, you're always going to be playing with the same factions. That's a problem, and the solution, of course, is to introduce a box of the exact same size that for £60 adds another 4 factions. And if money was not an issue, sure, you might be thinking to yourself, great, this is exactly what this game needs.
This is probably the most disappointed I've ever been opening such a big box. Sure, it's full of plastic minis and even more cardboard towers, but when I got to the 4-page rulebook, this isn't rules. This isn't rules. This isn't rules, and neither is this. This is just a big picture, and this tiny little bit here tells you how to add another board to play with 5 to 6, which we wouldn't recommend, and that says that the undead get some tokens. That's it. The really disparaging moment was when I realised that if it wasn't for all these minis and buildings, then this box would probably have space to fit in everything that's in this box, and the cost of them together would probably be less than this box. And the cost of the excess isn't just financial, it's space. And the lack of space is what does this game in. Everything that the Kickstarter enabled is to its detriment. And for a combined cost of £140, I'd honestly rather buy Twilight Imperium, which comes with 17 playable races. But what if you don't have time in your life to play Twilight Imperium? It takes at least twice as long. And that's a valid point, even though I would rather play one game of this than 2 games of this. Believe it or not, even though we didn't end up loving it, we would recommend Scythe over Heroes of Land, Air and Sea. It has a similar scope, a similar length, and it gives you a real sense of achievement when you've built up and you go out looking for trouble. And if you bought this and both the expansions, you would still end up saving yourselves around 40 quid compared to this.
And that's it. Scope. That is the real issue with this game, because we kind of wanted to like it, and actually a lot of people really do like this game, and that's because I think they take one look at the sheet and go, that's an ability, wait a minute, I can combine them together, and that's a combo, and there's so many combos, and which one will I pick? That's exciting, I get it, and I think it's almost exciting in this game, except that it doesn't really fit into the time frame of the game. There are so many possibilities, and yet none of them feel like they are fully explored anytime you play it. And that's why Heroes of Land, Air and Sea is a little bit like the London Eye. It's big, flashy, it's really expensive to get a ride on, a lot of people enjoy it, and I'm just left wondering, why did I spend my money on this? Whether you agree with us or not, we hope you find value in the fact that we exist and will sometimes take very popular games to task, because I'll tell you what, it destroys relationships with publishers, and it also destroys relationships with viewers, because people get really precious about games, and that's understandable. This entire hobby is built on a passion for games, and you know what, we're also passionate, and if you want to see some more positive stuff from us, here's the thing we did, it's our top 10 games. We will talk a lot of good things about a lot of good games, and while you're here, why not hit the subscribe button? Come on, you stuck all this way through, you're enjoying this. Click the button.